one of the things that you were talking about when we were at Power Up was you're working on like development tooling. I'm
Yes.
blanking on the full context of what you were saying, but that keyword stuck in my head.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess to try to summarize it a little bit, one of the big things I've been working on, and the reason there's not been in our game, a lot of the players who've been kind of tracking it and like seeing the demo and stuff like that probably haven't seen a ton of like outwards
Mm-hmm.
progress for a lot of things for a while. And the reason for that is I've been going through the back end and just trying to basically rebuild it from the ground up, so to speak. And the reason behind that is we want to have really good developer tooling so that we can get the game designers being able to just change any mechanic without coming through me as the programming bottleneck. So
Right.
being able to kind of separate the programming logic for like how does the system and the engineering run, and then the like game design like logic. So to
Mm-hmm.
be, people be able to talk about things in terms of like, oh, when the turn ends, this should happen, or like this character should take damage,
Mm-hmm.
and you can just kind of do that from within the like editor rather than having to be like, okay, cool, I'll just open up my like IDE and type some code in and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, that's like I don't know because like that kind of developer tooling stuff is stuff I'm pretty passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, like there are a bunch of other cool flow-on effects that I could probably ramble about for a while, but I'll try to hold it back. But the main trade-off, I guess, is that yeah, we're still sitting here, and Leo is very patiently waiting for me to get a bunch of stuff ready so that we can hopefully show it off at PAX.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be coming in hot, so to speak. But yeah, that's like basically I think as we hop out of this, I'm going to be back to work on some of that stuff because I'm really excited for it.
Nah, I think like the fact that Jaco has been I'm taking the time to develop these tools, it means that I've had a lot of opportunity to actually do all the other art assets that need to
Mm-hmm.
be done, and I'm like almost nearing the end of some of the pipelines, which is actually really nice because I was very worried at the start of the project that I'd be like sitting here for a year while Jacko was done with all the game content and we were just waiting for all
Right.
the visuals. So like it's actually worked out very well for us.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be getting a very big rehaul altogether, and everything's going to be completely different once Jacko is done with what he's doing. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm super excited for it to happen.
Well, if you want to go
Yeah,
more into like details of the developer tooling and like sort of what you're trying to achieve with them, I'd love to hear that.
yeah, awesome. So um, I guess I'll start with saying that like so we're a pretty systems heavy game.
Mm-hmm.
So um, one thing I've noticed, at least like this is kind of me, I'll espouse some personal philosophy, but like the one thing I've noticed about a lot of like game engines and stuff, particularly Unity is the one I'll pick on because that's what we happen to be in, is that it's very well geared towards stuff that's like I don't want to use the word tactile gameplay, but things like platformers
Mm-hmm.
or, to a certain degree, first person shooters or things like that, that are like real time, there's a physical world and stuff like that that's happening there. Um, and then you want to add like a systems heavy layer to that. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at stuff like, okay, cool. So I'm going to need an event system. I'm going to need actions like that are going to happen and things like that. And Unity has tools for doing that, but they're pretty bare bones. They're
Mm-hmm.
not very ergonomic, and they certainly aren't speaking in the language that game designers would want to be speaking in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are kind of third-party plugins that you can pull out for doing some of these, but again, like a lot of the ones I've seen are very um, like I'll go with like feel is the classic kind of one that a lot of people use. Like I saw somebody using the Corgi engine or something like that by More Mountains,
Mm-hmm.
and try to make a game out of that, or they'll like the top down shooter thing. And yeah, just like trying to piece those together and use those tools. Um, and yeah, like none of it really felt like it was the kind of thing that'll really be working in a systems heavy game where I need
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, this my character does damage now, but oh, this character has like like a status effect that's like whenever I take damage, do this stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe I have a status effect where it's like whenever my a character I've targeted it triggers a status effect,
Mm-hmm.
like stuff happens. It's like all these chains of logic that are flowing around the place. It that's probably a very overly complicated version, but it's really hard to express that with any of the tooling available to game designers. So you really need to be a programmer. And even then, you've got all these edge cases that are suddenly going to bubble up. So what I'm trying to do with that is make a system that lets people just kind of go, okay, cool, events like will trigger actions. Actions might have a couple of effects, and you can say who they're targeting. I won't do the full technical breakdown of the whole system, but you can see already like how with that kind of a framework, now you can start building your own like individual gameplay actions. Like if you have an effect that is a damage effect, and it targets something with health, then it's going to receive some damage, like those kind of things. And now I'm talking in a game designer's language, and they can make tools with that. And the ultimate thing would be, like it doesn't just have that; it also has like stuff for a map with turns and tiles and tokens that move around. So you've kind of got all of your board game mechanics sitting in there as well. So if your like natural happy place is like board game stuff, you could be like, oh, cool, I can just iterate with this. And then also trying to make all this stuff happen so that there's like a graphical front end that's listening to all these changes and being able to replay at like a slower speed what's being acted out in this kind of logical backend simulation. The two things are like not running at the same time. We want all of the backend stuff to just play and know what's happening. And then the front end can like take the time to explain to the human what's actually going on, even though it's happened in like 10 milliseconds in the back end. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff like that. And I think the only other one would be like having prediction. So like preview of all the possible options. So let's say it's on your turn. One of the things we want to do is be like, oh, if you did attack this character, like how much health would they lose? Or which characters are actually available for me to attack right now? And so the backend will do a lot of that preview work and kind of go, oh, okay, cool. This is what would happen if, this branching possibility. So you can see like that's a kind of a bit of a complex system. We also don't want to simulate the entire possibility of everything because that's too much. We can't do that. And your poor laptop battery does not want us doing that. So we won't. But yeah, that's a bit of the technical challenge there, to be able to really get that going. And you can see like all of that work, like that complexity spawning out is for something as simple as, oh, here's like a little like hover over like tooltip change number for what the damage would be. So there's a surprising level of like complexity and like doing things to this kind of depth to get that like very simple little feature. Yeah, so it's a bunch of fun. I think the only other bit I'd say is also trying to make it all like serializable and trackable means that we can kind of have, if we wanted to, the history of everything the player has ever done, which gives us a lot of fun stuff we could potentially do with narrative in the game if we want to be kind of seeing what the player has done previously and reacting to that.
Right, so if they maybe defeated a boss with a certain type of damage, for example.
Yeah. Or if I notice that you're only playing this type of card. Yeah, or if back at this point in time you said X to this person, or every single run that you've ever taken, you've always picked this option. You've never gone this other option with this character, and we think that there's like some narratively interesting moment that should happen if that's been this kind of repeated case. We have the tooling to be able to like express that if this backend system works and does that. So yeah, there's like just so much capability that would be built into it. It's the classic thing of like, oh man, like all the possibilities. And
right. It's like we build this tooling now, we can do anything we want with it. Like where, how far do we take this?
Yeah. And like I think the last bit I'd say, like kind of based on all of the excitement I have around it, and this is stuff I've kind of talked with Leo about a bit. We don't have like a solid roadmap or plan for this, but something I'd really love to do is to take as much as I can of it and try to open source it, and make it so that like, if I feel like I don't have it there for me, as much as I enjoy building it, I would have enjoyed just being like package download. Thank you. Yep. That'd be great. Let me start doing this. So yeah, like being able to do that and provide it back to the kind of developer community would be super cool. There's probably like another level of polish on top if I'm going to be giving it to other people outside the team, like documentation, all that kind of stuff. That's a bit more, but yeah, I'd really love to be able to kind of contribute back in that way. And yeah, then if people are like, oh, this part sucks and I wish it worked better, then they can tell me and I can fix it and it'll be better for us,
Mhm.
hopefully. Yeah.